Hey boys and girls, it's Trevy the Great here with another battle report using my Grey Knights, again at 1,000 points, just like the last one I put out. I'm not going to go through my list. Well, actually, I'll go through my list real quick. It's the same list I used in my last battle report, so if you saw that, it's the same one. It's just 2 Grey Knight strike squads, Psybolt ammo, 2 Psy cannons, a Paladin squad with a bunch of upgrades. They have 2 Psy cannons as well, and a Librarian. He's got Shrouding, Quicksilver, and Might of Titan. My opponent this time is Chaos Space Marines, a pretty classic combination. Not as classic as Demons, but my opponent did bring a Demon Prince to this game, so I figured that's probably why the Grey Knights were fighting. Otherwise, they'd just be like, oh, heretics, whatever. Oh, but you brought a demon. Well, let's lay the beat down. So anyway, my opponent had 2 squads of, I believe, 7 Khorne Berserkers. He had a unit of a normal Chaos Space Marine unit. They had a Heavy Bolter. I do not believe they had any marks. And he had a Nurgle Demon Prince with the Wind of Change Psychic... no, not Wind of Change. Sorry, Wind of Chaos Psychic Power. That's the Flamer template one that wounds everything on a 4+ that it hits. I don't think he had any other Psychic Powers, unfortunately. And last but not least, he had a Predator with twin-linked las cannons and 2 Heavy Bolters. This is a picture, as you can see, of the deployment and the board setup. The mission was not capture and control, seize ground. Wow, I'm a little off my game today. That sucks. Seize ground with the deployment type as pitched battle. Got that one right. All right. As you can see, my force is up in the upper left-hand corner there. They've sort of taken over that ruin. There is an objective right outside of that, but there's not one in the ruin. I figure that I have enough time to move my troops up later in the game. It's only a couple inches away, and I can control or contest that objective. There's another objective in the little spaceship ruin up in the right-hand corner, and then there's one in the ruin with all the Chaos Space Marines in it in the foreground. So most of the battle is going to be taking place between these 2 objectives on the left-hand side of the map. So this is the end of turn 1, I believe. The game progressed pretty straightforward for the first couple of turns. My opponent moved his Khorne Berserkers out to try to contest that objective and do some damage to my units in close combat. Unfortunately, he didn't really, sort of underestimated the amount of shooting that this army can put out, and that's what was wiped out in the first round, so it just killed them all. I didn't really do much else that turn. His Demon Prince did come around that building. He was going to try to go around. Unfortunately, he did not have the wings, so he was just moving his normal infantry and very slow. And I did put a wound on the Demon Prince with a Psy Cannon, and he realized that the Demon Prince would not survive slogging it across that way, although he could do some damage if he got to my guys. They can do a lot of damage to him when he comes over. So his Demon Prince quickly realized that discretion was probably the better part of valor and decided to hide behind that building in the top center there. Other than that, I took a couple casualties from shooting, especially from that Predator, but the Shrouding kept my guys' cover save up, and even those las cannons weren't able to do much. So I believe at the end of the first round, I had only lost 1 Grey Knight, but I had wiped out an entire troops choice of my opponents. So this is something I had forgotten to mention earlier. My opponent does actually have a unit of 4 Chaos Terminators with the Mark of Khorne on them, and I totally forgot to mention that when I was going over our army list. They also have a Combi Flamer and a Reaper Autocannon in the unit. So this is the beginning of my opponent's turn 3. Turn 2 didn't really do much. I killed a bunch of the Chaos Space Marines holding that objective, but I wasn't able to do much else. And then these Terminators deep struck down and took some shooting, but I wasn't able to do any casualties, unfortunately. So basically, I'm just going to have to hold up and see how much damage I can do to them before they get there. But I'm not optimistic about the amount of casualties I can put on some Terminators. Unfortunately, the strike squad in the foreground here took a bunch of shooting from the Predator and actually failed their leadership test and ran away, but thankfully they could regroup because they have a They Shall Know No Fear. So they didn't really lose any movement with that, but unfortunately they did lose a couple of shots from their autocannons. Not autocannons. They're basically autocannons. They're Psy cannons, rather, and a little bit of maneuverability. I would have liked to have some control over where they were going, but that was not to be, unfortunately. So as I said in the beginning, my opponent did have 2 units of Khorne Berserkers. I had killed 1 at this point, but his other one was kept in reserve, which was a good move on my opponent's part. It's not in this picture, but they ended up coming in, I believe, on the same turn as the Terminators, across from the other objective on the other side of the board. So basically, by putting them in reserve, my opponent sort of put them also out of mind, and I wasn't really thinking about them. I knew that was a possibility, but unfortunately, the Grey Knight's army is very slow, and it's really hard to respond to those kind of threats. So he did get them in on the other side of the board over on his edge, and they have started to move over towards the objective that is off the screen. Now what happened over here was in my opponent's fourth turn, the Terminators assaulted the Grey Knight Strike Squad that used to be in the upper left-hand corner and killed a bunch of them. My Strike Squad rolled abysmally for their attacks. I had Hammer Hand work going on them and Might of Titan from the Librarian, so they were Strength 6 when they were assaulted, and I just whiffed all of my rolls. The Justicar had a Force Halberd and he attacked, and I believe it was 1 miss and 1 to wound, and then the rest of the squad with their force weapons attacked, and just they all rolled 1s to wound. I wasn't able to do anything. It was horrible. So the entire squad got wiped out by the Terminators. But fortunately, because the Terminators can't consolidate, they can't really get into a better position, that leaves them open to a counterattack by the rest of my army, so I can wipe them out pretty quickly. Although I would really rather have had that Strike Squad there to respond to the Berserkers on the other side of the board. So I apologize, I haven't been taking very good pictures this game. Most of the pictures are not of the important things in the game and just look kind of cool. But I did wipe out the Chaos Space Marine squad that was sitting in the ruins, and I moved my Strike Squad up to take the objective on my side of the board, so I was winning by 1 at this point. However, my opponent brought his Berserkers in range of the other objective on the other side, so we were actually tied. So I turned around and moved with my my Paladins to begin to shoot at those Berserkers and killed all but 1 of them. And that 1 was still in range of the objective. So unfortunately, I just did not have the shooting at this point to take out the last Berserker. And this was, I believe, the end of turn 5 or 6. It was getting near the end of the game, so I really needed to kill that guy to win this game. My opponent also brought his Demon Prince out from behind this building to assault the Paladins and try to hold them up so that they weren't able to take out that last Berserker. And he used Wind of Chaos and actually failed to do anything because of my invulnerable save. And he tried to assault, but was found to be just a little out of assault range. So they were safe from the Demon Prince for this turn, but I don't think it would have been enough. My opponent also brought his Predator, again off the picture, sorry guys, brought his Predator around to try to block off the objective, or one of the objectives on my side of the board and stop me from taking it. Unfortunately, he went through difficult terrain, rolled a 1 for his dangerous terrain test. Even though he had a Dozer Blade and re-rolled it, he rolled a 1 again, so he was immobilized on the terrain and just sitting there like a lame duck in the middle of the road. And my Psy Cannons from my Strike Squad over there ended up wrecking it that turn. So my opponent's forces on my side of the board were wiped out. All he had was 2 or 3 guys on this side of the board, but unfortunately they had an objective. So here's the last turn of the game. This is the last image, the end of turn 6. As you can see, all my opponent has on the board is that 1 Berserker on the objective up in the center, middle, on the top there, and the Demon Prince next to that building in the top, what is that, top right. Even though I have all of my Paladins and the entirety of my my second Strike Squad still alive, my opponent was able to tie it up with that last Berserker. And there he is, hunkering down on that objective, holding on to that wrecked spaceship for dear life, and just trying to survive all of the Psy Cannon shots going his way. So all in all, it was a really great game. It was a good plan of my opponents to bring those Berserkers in around the other side where I couldn't really retaliate. It was really a fun game to play. Fun was had by all. Unfortunately, it just didn't go my way. But you know, that's the way of things sometimes. And it's also a good example of how in 40K you don't have to win a battle by just attacking your enemy. You can still win by outmaneuvering him and outsmarting him, which makes it a real game of tactics, which is totally awesome. So, I hope you all enjoyed this little battle report. If you like these battle reports and want to see more, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I'll be putting more up on a semi-regular basis. Thank you very much for watching, kids.